Hope you have all been keeping well and safe. You may hear a piano accompaniment coming from downstairs. My daughter is practicing her piano at the moment, so if you guys can hear that, I hope you enjoy it. So what's been happening? So we've had a lot of people sign up recently for our Parenting in a Pandemic online course, which is completely free at the moment, which is great. We're getting lots of good feedback from people as well, which is really, really good to see that they're finding it useful and that they're finding the techniques are actually having a benefit in helping them manage the way things are going right now. So that is going to remain free at the moment, and we've had a few people sign up for our parenting, general parenting course and parent self-care courses as well, which are also staying reduced at the moment. So it's great to hear people are finding them useful. I have 2 motivation interview podcasts recorded. Now there's a bit of editing involved in both of those, but I'm delighted to have those in the bag as well. Got a couple more planned for the coming weeks. So I would be hopeful of having the first motivation interview podcast coming out. I'm going to say maybe towards the middle/end of the month. As you can see, I've got a new friend here who's going to be joining me on my podcasts. I wanted to get a better setup for my motivation interview, so I've purchased a new mic. So welcome to Mike. I hope you guys like Mike, and I hope he does his job as well as the reviews would have us believe. I'm looking a bit shiny at the moment for some reason. The sun is shining in, and the joys of having a bald head. So we got a couple of questions today, and for those of you who signed up for the Parenting in a Pandemic course, or any of the parenting courses online, there's a free webinar this coming Friday where you can come along, ask any questions, get any clarifications. I've got a couple of questions in already that I'll be answering, so I'm hopeful that will be of benefit. They seem to have been of benefit for people who've taken part so far, so if you're around and you fancy it, come along. Okay, let's get into these questions. Okay, question 1. I have 3 children under 5, 2 boys and a girl. My husband works a lot, even a lot during the pandemic too. I'm really struggling to manage everything. My husband does really appreciate this and tries to do what he can when he is around the house. I find myself crying a lot of the time and feeling like I'm failing as a wife and a mother. I just don't know what to do or where to turn. I tried speaking with my mother and my best friend, but they just keep telling me that everything will be okay and that this happens to everyone. But this doesn't really help me. Please help. And I have to admit that when the messages come in with a please help at the bottom of it, it does kind of hit at the old heartstrings, because it's just, I find it's sad to feel that there are people out there who are feeling so alone and so I suppose who are struggling with where they're at any given time. So I suppose there's a few things I'd say. I think when we go and speak to our friends and our family about what's going on for us, a lot of the time, one of 2 things can happen. One, they will give us advice, and what we can do is we can take that advice and put it into action and find that things are better or worse or just the same. Or we can get the advice and go, they're just saying that. And that's not that we're disrespecting them. It's just that we're in such a low place that if they're telling us something more positive, we're just not in the frame of mind to be able to hear it. And sometimes the reassurance works and sometimes it doesn't. But what I would suggest to you is to go and speak to your doctor, your GP, about this, about how you're feeling, about how overwhelmed you are at the moment, and that explain everything. Lay it all out on the table. If we go back to the drama triangle, which we spoke about ages ago, probably years ago at this stage, being vulnerable is a position of strength, and it doesn't feel like that sometimes. Sometimes being vulnerable can feel like we're being weak, or we're showing the world, we're dropping the mask for the world to see that we're not coping well. But the reality is we're not coping well, and here you are, you're struggling right now. So definitely go lay everything on the table for your doctor and explain that, you know, the people around you are giving you advice, which is fantastic. Explain that the people around you, maybe they want you to be okay. And that can then temper or change how we view the advice that they give us. And get your doctor to recommend a counsellor or a therapist or a coach for you. Now, I know there's many people out there who will give me a range of reasons why this is not appropriate for them. So I don't want to talk to anybody about how I'm feeling. Okay. I don't have the money to be paying somebody right now. I don't have the time to be speaking to a counsellor. And what use can they be, really? Because I'm the one that needs to make the changes in my life. And all those are very legitimate. All those are very, or maybe you've had a bad experience in the past. They're all reasonable reasons for you to maybe question whether or not this would be appropriate for you. But given what you're describing, it probably sounds like you're in a position now where speaking to somebody who is there just for you, and they're not emotionally invested in what you say or what you do, where you can literally go in and say, I hate everyone. I hate my family. I hate my husband. I hate my kids. Hate my mother. Hate my best friend. Hate the world. Okay, I don't hate them all. I'm just very frustrated, or I'm very tired or overwhelmed at the moment. Whereas if you go and say to your husband, your children, your family, your friends, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, they respond to that emotion. And you don't really mean it necessarily. So going and speaking to a counsellor or a therapist will give you the space to just talk through what's going on for you. And it is all about you in this moment. For that 1 hour a week or a fortnight that you go, it is about you, and it helps you to then process and start to put practical things in place for yourself if you find the right counsellor or therapist. Now, you may go to somebody and not click with them straight away and then go, try that, didn't work because they didn't click for me. But you might need to try 2, 3 or 4 different people, because the first person may not click for you. You might come to work with me as a coaching client and sit down in the first session and go, you're an asshole. I don't like you. I don't like the look of your face. That's okay. I won't take that personally. It's all right. You can go, because I'm not going to be the right fit for everybody. And that's all right. So go speak to your doctor. Lay it all out on the line. Get a number of a counsellor or a therapist or a coach that they would suggest, and go and speak to them. But what I'd say is commit to 3, 4, 5 sessions before you make the decision, unless you really don't like the look of them, right? But just commit to a number of sessions to see how you get on. And the chances are you will find that you will be able to come up with the answers for you, that you won't need them to tell you what to do. You won't need them to give you advice. You'll just be able to process it through talking and using the techniques that they will support you with, that things will slowly start to get better. It might happen very quickly. And I would highly recommend speaking to someone who's a logosynthesis practitioner, because they can really get to the root of the issues very quickly. So do, if you can, find somebody. But if you can't, that's okay too. And that can help you to manage things for yourself and not feel like you're failing as a mother and a wife, because you're not. Okay? Because we only fail when we don't measure up to the expectations we have of ourselves or other people. But sometimes those expectations are not based on reality, and they don't take into account all the other elements that are taking place in our lives, and we haven't got the clarity to make a different decision. So you're doing the best that you can right now with the information and knowledge and situation that you are in. And you may, in 5 months, 5 years, turn around and go, oh, probably could have done that a bit differently. But the reality is you didn't have any other tools available for you at this given moment. So going and talking with somebody will help you to maneuver past this so that you can get to a place where I am doing the best that I can right now. And I'm going to make mistakes, but that's okay because I'm a human being. I'm an actual human being that makes mistakes, because we all make mistakes. And there are very few things in this world that are so catastrophic that we cannot recover from. And unless we are abusing the people around us, physically, verbally, emotionally, well then we'll probably recover from whatever it is we go through. So if you are worried about the money, there are low-cost counselling services out there. But the other thing is, a lot of us will get a takeaway once a week or once a fortnight or once a month. What if you didn't get a takeaway once a week? What if you only got it every 2 to 3 weeks and you put the money into speaking to somebody? That's going to be far more beneficial of an investment for you and the people around you than the takeaway or whatever else. If you smoke, whatever. Just you as a human being have the worth, and you deserve the investment in yourself. We pay bills, we pay mortgages, we pay everything else, and then we put ourselves last. You deserve to have that money there to put into getting you to a place where you feel more content within yourself and more okay within yourself. And you will get there if you do it. Trust me. Trust me. If you find the right person, they will help you to get to a place where you're feeling better within yourself. But you're doing the best that you can right now. And that's the advice I'd give you. Accept that you're doing the best that you can and go and speak to your doctor. And see how it goes. Please do come back to me. But you're doing the best that you can, and you have 3 children under 5 years of age. That is a crazy time. That's so busy. Like, never mind thinking about the longer term, things like education or emotional well-being. I'd say it's just bloody busy trying to get them to bed at night so that you can get to bed, so that you can get up and get going again. Okay? So go and speak to your doctor and find somebody to go and speak to. And it will help. Trust me, it will. Hello, everybody. Lots of comments. I hope you've all been keeping well. I will tell my daughter that the piano is sounding good. Thank you. Okay, last question for today. My 13-year-old son has come to us and said that he feels like a girl on the inside. This hit us like a ton of bricks. While he hasn't always taken part in the traditional, in inverted commas, boys' games and enjoyed spending time playing with girls in the street growing up, he does play Gaelic football and soccer, both of which he loves dearly. He explained to us that a lot of the time he feels like he is separate from his body, and that he's looking at himself as a boy in the mirror and it just doesn't look right, and that the real him, again in inverted commas, is not in his body. He said he doesn't want to upset us and is sorry if we're sad about what he has said. We reassured him that we love him no matter what. We had a conversation afterwards, and we were both shocked and felt absolutely lost about what to do and where to go from here. Have you any suggestions, as we don't want him to be bullied or to have to face people being horrible, but we also don't know how we can help him or what to do? So that's a pretty big one for any parent to have to deal with, but especially at 13 years of age, where your child is coming into a time in their lives where they may be feeling a lot more self-conscious, trying to figure out who they are in this world. First thing I'd say is that you clearly have done a good job as a parent, that he feels comfortable enough to be able to come to you at 13 years of age and be so open and honest, because not a lot of children would feel that confident. So you guys have obviously created the conditions for him to feel comfortable to do that. So that's one thing I would say, is that he feels clearly that he can have this conversation. And obviously he's got a little bit of trepidation and a little bit of guilt because he doesn't want to upset you. And that just shows how strongly he feels about this, that even though he doesn't want to upset you or make you sad, that he still felt okay to come and talk to you about it. And a lot of the people that I've worked with over the years who maybe have gone through something similar for themselves or for their children will have said that the experience was that, just that, like that your son said, that just that separation from the actual body. It's just kind of like, this just doesn't fit right for who I feel I am. And people will say, okay, we'll go and you can look at gender reassignment and all that kind of stuff, but that's huge, and there's a whole process to go through before you get to that stage, and maybe your son's not at that point yet. So maybe it's about sitting down with him and asking him, what does he think he needs from you guys right now? He may not know, he may not have the answer, but he might just say, look, all I want to do right now is just maybe wear women's clothes, or go by a girl's name in the house. He may not feel that he wants to go any further than that right now, and that's okay. But he may turn around and go, I actually don't know what to do. I just feel separate. And maybe this is where you go and you approach a counsellor or a therapist, not to fix him or to get him back feeling okay as a boy, but just to help him through managing this. Like, I know in Ireland, Belong To is a great youth service for LGBT. I always get it wrong. LGBTQI plus, I think, young people, and they can offer supports, and they may have a bank of counsellors and therapists who your son can access, who have the experience of dealing with and supporting children going through this process. He may turn around and say, I want to look at becoming a girl. And then you'll have to go and maybe speak to your doctor just to get more information. And that can be challenging because you're trying to get your own head around it right now. And you can say to him, look, absolutely, we will look into what the process is as we're getting used to this ourselves. But the fact that you've reassured him and said that you love him no matter what is really important, for one, but it's also really important to back that up with your actions. And so there's a number of conversations to have. He may not want to say anything to his friends. He may not want to go to his football team and say, how are you lads? I'm actually going to be a girl right now. That may not be where he's at right now. He's clearly just getting used to this himself and processing this for himself. And I suppose supporting him through it. So getting in touch with youth services who work with young people who are going through this process or exploring it. And then do a bit of searching up yourself. Look up websites that will give you advice as a parent, because there's lots of them out there. Again, go to Belong To. They'll point you in the right direction. And even if you're not in Ireland, you can still contact Belong To via the internet. And we have a great setup in Drogheda called Drogheda Outcomers. They are fantastic as well. So there's a lot more options available for your son to go and get advice, and for you to get some advice on how to go through it. It's okay for you to not have all the answers right now. It's okay for your child to have questions and for you not to be able to answer them. What you do is, let's find out together, son. Let's sit down and go through this together, and we'll figure it out, and we'll help you as best as we can. But that's all you can do. You don't have to have the answers, because a lot of times we feel that pressure that we have to have the answers, when in actual fact we don't. We just have to try and do what we can in any given moment to support our children through what they're going through in that time. But ultimately, you have created the conditions where your son feels comfortable to come and speak to you about this stuff, which is massive. It's massive. He has massive confidence in you guys and your ability to manage this, and also help him to progress through the stages of whatever stages come up for him going forward. So go and get in contact with Belong To, and maybe if you feel the need, go and speak to your doctor to get their advice if you have a doctor who you think would be able to point you in the right direction. But Belong To will definitely, I suspect Belong To will be able to definitely support you in the point you in the right direction and help you guys out through this process. And well done on your parenting. Genuinely, well done on your parenting. You've done a really good job, because your son felt confident enough to come to you. So thank him for it, and pat yourselves in the back and let him know that you're going to do this together. All right, guys, that's us for today. I hope you have a nice, safe week, and I hope you had loads of chocolate at the weekend. If you like chocolate, I did, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And yeah, we'll chat to you next time. Take care.